It was an emotional night in downtown Phoenix as the Suns welcomed a legend to their Ring of Honor. It's one thing when they welcome one of the old legends, the Alvin Adams, the Dick Van Arsdales, the people who we didn't grow up watching. But for many of us, Shawn Marion, the Matrix, meant so much to your fandom as a Phoenix Suns fan. A beautiful ceremony at the end of the game leaves you teary-eyed. Brings back the memories of what was once upon a time. And the Suns stunk it up tonight against the Knicks to honor Shawn Marion. It was fucking pitiful. Giving up 139 points, giving up a 50-point score to Jalen Brunson, playing no defense, giving up over 30 points in every quarter. Matthew, this team is a horrendously horrible defensive team.
Yeah, they're bad at all sides, or every side of the ball, honestly. Offensively, of course, so when you score as much as they did tonight, you're like, oh, the offense is good. It was, but when you're going to have to compete with a guy like Brunson, another star that can just outshine Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, I know Beal went down. It's disappointing, man, especially a night like tonight with Shawn Marion inducted into the Ring of Honor 31. Not sure if you can hear me at all with everyone yelling, but do the best I can. It's a big party over here, everybody. Hey, we're celebrating after the game, and half the fans left, and I'm pissed at them, fuckers.
Did they really leave prior to Shawn Marion being inducted into the Ring of Honor? That's fucking horrible, too.
So half the crowd is already gone. It's the same thing, even with this podcast, dude. Like, the way Suns fans are, they drive me fucking nuts. Because just because they lose, all right, I know it's a bad loss, right?
Yeah.
But it's Shawn Marion, man, and we've been waiting for this for forever. Fuck the team tonight. Who cares? It's one fucking lousy game. It's about the celebration after. I know they got their ass beat, but that's the way the Suns do it. It's a big night for the franchise. We're going to get our ass beat. So that's the way it always ends.
Typical Suns. And so much was typical Suns tonight as we're going to explore this loss to the New York Knicks that cost us Bradley Beal after 4 minutes of play. Where Suns fans are leaving early despite the fact that Shawn Marion is finally in the Ring of Honor. Of course they'd lose. We should have known it was coming. Why? Because we were excited today. And anytime as a Suns fan, you feel remotely excited, you know something's not right. And that's why this entire offseason, as we prepared for the big three, we were afraid of the excitement. I've said it on this podcast multiple times. I was terrified of the excitement I felt for the Phoenix Suns this season because the script never goes as planned. There always has to be adversity and turmoil, frustration and heartbreak. And tonight was an encapsulation of that, and it brings back the memories of Shawn Marion, where that same script played out over and over again in his career with the Suns. He had to leave and go to Dallas to win a championship. He couldn't win one here in Phoenix. Why? Because the Suns, for some reason, can never get out of their own way. They might have bad luck, some would say. It's just part of being a Suns fan. That's the way it goes.
It is. And he did mention before the game in the press conference that he's just naming off the teams that should have won it and could have won it, right? We went through the excuses before the game, and then we just kind of relive it through this kind of game. You know, it's not an elimination game, but it's a game that, you know, Booker and KD wanted because of that reason, because of Shawn Marion. And they haven't had a loss like this all season. It's never been this bad, right?
Not this bad. Not an ass kicking like this. So we're going to talk about this, Suns fans. So if you're joining us, we appreciate you. We know that you're feeling pretty pissed, and we're going to navigate some of those feelings with you tonight. This is always a therapy session, especially when you get fucking destroyed on national television. Even though it's a East Coast team and everybody was probably in bed, they'll wake up. They'll see that Brunson had 50. They'll see that he was 9 of 9 from beyond the arc. They'll see that they destroyed the Suns, and then there goes all narratives, and we just have to live with it. So hit the like button if you want to. If you don't, I don't care. Pop them if you got them. If you want to. If you don't, I don't care. Let's talk about Shawn Marion Night. Suns lose 139 to 122. Get absolutely demolished by an average New York Knicks team. This team is now 13-12. They're 6-8 at home. They're a team that entered with the 17th best defense, and that's going to fall. So I guess when it comes to my first question.
Oi, Matty. Mate, I've got to ask.
Matthew, I got to ask. What do you think Matt Ishbia is thinking right now? He's been in attendance for the last 2 games. In fact, the last game, you and I passed him going up the stairs, and I'm like, hey, how you doing, Matt?
Yeah, and I said, hey, I didn't even know who it was, though. I had no idea it was Matt. I'm like, oh, hey, it's him and his crew. I'm like, damn, dude, the entourage blowing up. Really quick, Shawn Marion's friends and family right behind me. Just that's the noise. They hung out like right next to us in the suite. So if you hear some talking, it's them.
Go get Shawn on the pod. See what he thought about the game.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Oh, dude, he was taking so many photographs today. Like you could just see, like he was just like, dude, like it's his day for sure. But every person was getting a photograph with him, except for me. Yeah. So Matt Ishbia, are you just talking about just as a whole with the team and just the way
so
playing, Beal's injury, all that?
You think about it. Matt Ishbia flies in. Obviously, lives in Michigan, works in Michigan. Doesn't come to every Phoenix Suns game. So he decides that, you know what, they're welcoming back the Twins, the guys that he shipped out on like day 1 of him owning the team on Wednesday. And then Friday, he's like, I'm going to make a weekend of it. I'm going to take the family out there. We're going to go watch the team that I own. And he comes and he sees Bradley Beal get hurt. He sees his team lose 2 games at home against Eastern Conference opponents. What do you think Ishbia is thinking right now?
It's a process, hopefully. He knows what he did here, and he knows the trades that he made and the guys that he got rid of, and how much the Suns fan base loves him. I mean, with Marion coming back, you know the support that we put behind these players, unless it's like the Ring of Honor inductee ceremony and we leave and just not stay for it. But we do support these guys, and it's tricky because it is early in the season. So these things always tend to turn around when they start off so badly. Then it's like, okay, here comes a good win streak from the Suns, and you can forgive everything. But it just happens this way where you have so much to look forward to. It's such a great weekend, like you said. And the Nets game, it's definitely a team you should beat right off the bat. Coming to this game, I thought it was going to be a win. You thought it would be a blowout. I thought it was going to be a big Beal game before he got hurt. It was 6 points. That ankle did not look good. That was probably one of the worst ankles breaks I've ever seen. Not a break, but whatever happened to it. It looked pretty fucking bad.
X-rays were negative.
Okay, that's good. And when that happened, I was like, you know what? I don't know. Do you want to play Beal's drop? Do you want to start talking about Beal?
She said you're not the only one, but you're the best, Bradley. Boom, boom.
So Bradley Beal tonight, as Matthew mentioned, did score 6 points in 4 minutes played, 2-2 from the field, hit a 3-pointer, but on that 3-pointer, Dante DiVincenzo clipped the bottom of his foot and it went down and he sprained that ankle, and he's probably going to be out for quite some time. And it's just, you know, part of it's like, okay, well, here we are, typical Suns luck, right? Big threes in town. We finally got them going and playing, and we're excited to watch the next 4 or 5 games, see what happens. Matrix tonight. And a night of celebration, a night we feel good. Bradley Beal gets injured. The big threes played a total of 23.8 minutes across 2 games, and they've been plus 15 in those 28 minutes. But now you have, you know, Durant, Booker, Beal, they've all dealt with ankle and foot issues at some point this season, and we're only 7 weeks in. Welcome to the 2023-2024 Phoenix fucking Suns. You're muted.
Poop. Yep, there you go. Did I say poop on? Okay, was I muted or
Poop.
no? Hey, I'm back. Poop. Yeah, so as soon as that happened, it's one of those things. The first thing I thought about was you and just how Beal should maybe be coming off the bench. So I was just thinking, you know, with this injury, I don't know how long he's going to be out. I'm thinking probably a month or so. And that's the thing is, like, do we just, like, not move on? Like, hey, could we trade him? Of course, that's not going to happen. No trade clause, I know that. But do we move on just thinking, like, okay, what can we do to really, like, establish, like, the other guard next to Booker? Like, if it's Goodwin or if it's Grayson Allen, do we go with that? And then when Beal does come back, just have him come off the bench. Because that way we don't have to worry about it so much. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, when the big three's here and healthy, we'll be good. Let's see what we look like with these two healthy, and then everybody else around them, because we went on a 7-game win streak without him. Like, let's kind of focus on that and see how that goes. And then when Beal does come back, just have him come off the bench. I think that's what I'm thinking, dude. Because it's kind of, I know it's early in the season, but it's going to be halfway through the season by the time he gets back.
Yeah, and this is where, for those who read my writing at Bright Side of the Sun or watch the podcast on a regular basis, you know that I like to define myself as a realist. But I like to think that I'm optimistic, and I like to be as positive as possible. And with this, it feels like all the haters were right. All the people who all summer long said, well, what's the point of getting Bradley Beal? You guys are always going to be hurt. And the team has no defense. They can't stay healthy. They can't stay on the court. I believe that this team is going to be really good when they're healthy, but I never know if they're ever going to be healthy. I'm in constant state of paranoia. Yusuf Nurkic hasn't gotten hurt yet. I'll knock on wood I'll knock on wood all day, but at the same time, like, that's coming too. And it's just going to be this comedy of consistent injuries and what ifs. What can't wait till we're healthy, dude. I'm telling you, once we're healthy, and then once we get healthy, like we were, even though we weren't completely healthy, because like Grayson Allen wasn't in the last game, Eric Gordon wasn't in the last game, Josh Okogie wasn't in the last game. Grayson Allen returns tonight, but the other two are still injured. But even in that hype, that the universe, the metaverse, the switchverse, what's the multiverse? There you go. In the multiverse where this team is all healthy, you're constantly have a sense of paranoia because you don't know if it's going to be sustainable. And then as we saw in the last game, even when they are all healthy, then we have the whole, okay, now that they're healthy, now we got to wait to see how they can develop chemistry and how they're going to play together. And that's going to be 10 more games. And by the time that's done, the season's over. And you've been eliminated in the second round because you can't play any defense. And it's just, I feel like we're running in quicksand. And I know that there's going to be wins along the way. This is what, the 24th game of the season, or 25th, where there's going to be wins along the way, and there's going to be highs and there's going to be lows, but that's always going to be living. Nights like tonight live rent-free in Suns fans' heads because we can never have nice things. We can never be like the Nuggets last year, where it's like, you know what? You're just going to be healthy all year long, okay? And you're just going to bowl through people because you have the talent to do so. We're not going to get any of those things. We're just going to constantly and consistently be chasing our tails. Well, what if we're healthy? I think we're going to be healthy. Well, next time we're healthy. Well, we were almost healthy. Okay, we're healthy now. I hope that they're going to be able to meld together. And that's just our life, man.
Yeah, it's always a waiting game. That's the most disappointing thing. It's spoiled by a couple seasons ago where everyone was healthy. I mean, that never really happens unless you keep that team together. The only guy that was always injured was Cameron Johnson, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you had guys like Mikal Bridges that would play every game, it was nice to have that. But right now, you're looking at this team, and even like Kevin Durant tonight and Booker combined, just unable to defeat a guy like Jalen Brunson. I know Brunson's awesome, right? He's an all-star for sure. But it's disappointing because I brought this up a few pods ago where I'm just like, if Booker's going head-to-head with these other superstars, and he just can't pull it off, you know what I mean? Like during his regular season games, I know it doesn't matter as much as the playoffs, but it just kind of looks bad, right? Because you want Book to be that superstar to end.
Of course.
Against a guy like Brunson, go head-to-head, and that's it. But the way that Brunson was playing tonight, like, he was just too quick for the Suns. He was getting open on everything, even hands in the face, like he was draining threes. So it's an unstoppable night by Brunson, but also you want KD and Booker to be those guys, right? I know maybe the whole Beal thing was just too much for them to handle, like thinking in the back of their head, like, what the fuck, man? It sucks. And I feel bad for Beal. Like, the first thing I thought about was, like, yes. I feel so bad for the dude.
Amen.
Like, I felt so devastated. It wasn't about, like, oh, the big three are never going to play. Like, fuck it. Like, this sucks. It was more like, hey, like, I feel bad. The guy, you can see on his face in the last few games, he's worried. He's worried about a re-injury, and it happened. And then when he comes back from this one, it's going to do the same thing. Oh.
And again, the frustrating, yeah, you're 100% right. Like, it sucks for Bradley Beal. He's fought so hard to get back. He plays a game in 4 minutes and boom, he's down again. And he has to, from a mental standpoint, from a human mental standpoint, he feels like he can't win. But when you talk about the head-to-head with Devin Booker, the challenge is it's Devin Booker's having to dig himself out of holes, whereas on the other side of the court, no one's playing defense. No one. This was such a shit display of defense tonight. I tweeted out the first quarter. I was like, where's this defense that we've been waiting to see from Frank Vogel? Because we just gave up 31 points in the first quarter. And then I tweeted after, when the second quarter ended, I'm like, and 32 in the third. And then after the third quarter, and 34 in the third. And after the fourth quarter, and 42 in the fourth. Like, we just get worse. There's like no adjustment, nothing. We just get worse as the game goes along. And it's a turnstile mentality. And you can say, and you can believe it if you want, but I've been watching this team all season long. I don't want to hear the continuity issue bullshit. These guys, we're 25 games into the season. Okay, yeah, Beal's been out. Yeah, Booker's been out. Yeah, Durant's. But you know what? The bench players are getting fucking turnstiled out there. And yeah, I guess it's the fact that they're all veteran minimum players. But when you have two guys up at the top of the key and Jalen Brunson's out there and they both sag off to take the roller and Jalen Brunson's standing out there, he's like, no one's around me. Nothing but net. It's just like the defensive communication. I don't know. It's like I'm not going to go as far as say like fire Frank Vogel because I always think that that's the stupidest move to do. But Vogel needs to start to have an impact. The team doesn't box out. I mean, we're sitting here after games and the team doesn't box out, and so they're not focusing on them. And defense, they're not focusing on that. And those are like basics. And this is Frank Vogel. This is what he does. He has teams that rebound and he has teams that fucking play defense. And they're doing neither of those things right now. It's embarrassing to watch this. It's frustrating to watch this. You have great offensive talent out there, and they're constantly having to dig themselves out of hole after hole because no one can play fucking defense. It's just, somebody commented on something on Bright Side of the Sun when I was talking about boxing out because I did my 2 up, 2 down column after the last game. And one of the downs was the fact that the Suns don't box out. And he goes, one of my coaches when I was in high school used to say, always watch the defender's eyes. Because if you're watching the defender's eyes, you know where they were thinking about going and you play off of them, and that's how you box them out. Whereas the Suns watch the rebound, and instead of watching their man, and next thing you know, somebody with higher athleticism, a Shawn Marion type, will come in and rob the ball from you time and time again. So it's these basketball basics that these Phoenix Suns are fucking missing on time and time again, and it's embarrassing. This team is 13-12. Okay, we have all the talent in the world. We have I think the roster is built fantastically. Have we had injuries? Yes, but so has every other team. The Knicks are without Mitchell Robinson, who I know is not a Bradley Beal status of player, but he's their starting center. He blocks. We've played against this guy. He's owned the Suns, and he's out for 8 to 10 weeks with a broken ankle. And they're beating the shit out of the Suns. It's fucking embarrassing. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, I can't top that at all. The whole thing with the PJ Tucker trade rumors and stuff like that—that's a guy you kind of want to go after. I wanted to bring up like trades. There's a lot of eligible guys now on this roster for trades.
As of today,
yeah, and like you don't really want to hit the trade machine too early, but in games like this where you watch the defense, to me, schematics and stuff, I have no idea, man. Like I think Vogel, I don't know how much he can spark a fire of these guys' asses any more than what Booker can, right? These guys are led by Booker and Kevin Durant that are ballers. They're not going to put up with any shit, right? They're going to make sure the team plays hard. A lot of it is just, to me, the other teams just look quicker. It always starts on the offensive end for the Suns. So if Kevin Durant's struggling and he's missing his shots, he just takes a long time, man. By the time he misses a shot, by the time it breaks, it feels like the other team's already on the other side of the court scoring the ball. So to me, it's like these last 2 games, other teams look so quick within 2-minute spans that the Suns can't keep up. And then the defense is just, of course, the thing to blame. And yeah, that should be. But they're just too slow sometimes, man. And I think when they get back to maybe just a point book at full time, that'd be nice to have. But I think guys like Goodwin and Allen in these situations, they have to make a difference. And Goodwin tonight was just having a hard time. Anytime he was even physical with Brunson, it was a foul. So Brunson just knew what he was doing to work this team all night long. And I don't think there's anything that you can really do about it when the guy goes off like that. But the Suns defense, you're right. It needs to be better, but it'll come around maybe. I don't know. I don't care.
No, well,
I don't care anymore.
Well, and that's the challenge is you think it's going to come around, and unless, I mean, we've seen it recently. The Boston Celtics, who went to the NBA Finals 2 seasons ago, were average and through December, and then something switched and they turned it on. They became a great defensive team. So is it possible? Yeah. Is it the exception, not the rule? Yes. I like what John Doe says in the chat, and I like everybody who's actually hanging out and just listening to me bitch, because that's what you're getting tonight. You're getting a bitch session from me, because I'm pissed. Like, how dare you guys ruin fucking Shawn Marion Night for me? Yeah, I don't think that works when I'm not on my phone. If you do this one, Matthew, do 2 thumbs down. It'll do something. See, it starts raining. But John Doe in the chat says time and chemistry will make a difference, but seeing the exact same strategic mistakes from game 1 to 25 is very disconcerting. The challenge is they're not playing defense, and the book is out on the Suns. Their opposing defenses are game planning for the fact that the Suns are going to do lazy inbounding and outlet passes, and they're jumping on them. Why do the Suns have turnover after turnover after turnover? It's because they have lazy passes. I've never seen a team with so much talent be so lackadaisical on passing. And I remember it was a challenge a couple years, maybe 3 years ago, because I remember doing post-game podcasts with you that year that we went to the finals. And the team at the beginning, when CP3 was on that team, when he would go to the bench, you'd see a very lackadaisical effort on passing. And that's consistent with this team, to where if they're inbounding the ball, it's kind of like oh shit, and they inbound it slow-mo, and then a defender will get it, or outlet passes or passes just around the block. This team is they telegraph a lot with what they do, and they unfortunately create a lot of issues themselves with those turnovers.
It's such a weird thing because last game, the post game, we're like, it was a loss, right? We just need more time. Now with Beal's injury, it just makes everything more urgent, right?
It resets that time.
It does. It's so like when this happens during the season where Beal gets hurt, like always, and I feel super bad. But when he actually is about to come back later in the season, I can just see what's going to happen. Right, the Suns are probably going through a little something. Maybe they go like on a 3 or 4 game win streak, and then everyone's like, "Well, just wait till Beal gets back." If we're losing, it's like, "Well, if Beal gets back, then maybe we can pull something together." No worries, right? Suns universe or whatever. Like, just I don't know. I'm sick of people saying like, "Hey, just relax," right? Because right now, dude, I know it's super early, but the way like even De'Aaron Fox comes in here and handles us.
Yes.
Cam, what's his name? The other Cam for
Cam
the Nets.
Thomas.
Cam Thomas comes in here, dismantles us. There's other guys out there that can take over games, and you're seeing it all the time now, man. So, like, the only thing I thought of at the end of last pod, the thing I thought of was if this team as a whole can stay healthy, that's the only chance they have. I don't trust a Booker and Kevin Durant led team right now. Obviously, I don't. I don't. Even on our 7-game win streak, dude, I was like still hesitant a little bit. I'm like, we need that extra guy.
Yes.
Now that I don't think we can count on the extra guy, I don't know where the season leads to.
And the challenge is with Beal, that contract, he's the highest paid player currently on the team, and with a no trade contract or clause in his contract. And when you mentioned the PJ Tucker types, it's hard to obtain that kind of person because the Clippers are going to do something to try to trade him. He's a $10.4 million a year contract, which if the Clippers were to choose to buy him out, the Suns could obtain him. Under the new second apron rules, if there's anybody who makes above the league minimum, which I believe is $12 million, they couldn't do that. So if there's somebody, let's say the Suns wanted to buy out Bradley Beal, right? And a team just like the Suns wanted to get him, they couldn't get him because he's over the league minimum or the league average of $12 million because he makes $37 million. PJ Tucker is somebody who could potentially be brought on to this team, but what is he going to give you? Nothing offensively. Defense, absolutely. But at 38-year-old defense, there's not, Lazy Squatch says it in the chat, and PJ Tucker's not going to make a difference. No one you ever get in the buyout market is going to make that much of a difference. And, one of the points that I was going to make coming into this game, win or lose, was look at the Clippers. Okay. When the Clippers got James Harden, they lost 5 in a row. And the sky was falling and the season was over for them. But then they started to meld and mesh and win games, and they're a viable, offensively tough team to play. And that's what I was thinking might happen to the Suns. You know what? The first 4 or 5 games with Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant, we might see some losses as they adjust to each other. But as you mentioned, now we have to reset. And maybe this team was devastated because Bradley Beal went down. They feel so bad for him as we do as a fan base. But again, what we're seeing are some consistently bad decision making, consistent on offense and defense, some consistently boneheaded defense, some consistently boneheaded offense. And despite everything that we've seen, the reality that we need to face is that the Suns need to learn how to win without the big three, because the big three's it's going to happen all season. They've got to learn how to win. And that comes down to the role players stepping up. And that's what happened during the win streak, right? Nasir Little started playing well for a few games. Drew Eubanks started playing well for a few games. And when those role players started stepping up in their roles, this team can win. But when everybody's shying away, when nobody can shoot in the fourth fucking quarter again, it's like I'm watching a bad fucking movie just over and over and over.
Yeah, and like you mentioned the Clippers earlier, where if I were to go like down the list of like the big three versus the big three, let's say Beal is healthy. Let's say that we have our big three. Would you choose currently the way the Clippers are playing? Would you choose a Beal over the way James Harden's playing? I don't know if I would. Just the way that James Harden's been running that offense. Also, Kawhi Leonard, would you choose a Booker over Kawhi Leonard? The way that Kawhi Leonard's playing every game right now, shooting more than 40% from behind the line, from 3-point line. Like, even Paul George, I don't know. It's tough. I think maybe it's just being a Suns fan where you just don't believe in them. But if you're going to go head to head with any of these teams right now, and I know we just lost Beal and it sucks, I don't see it, man. I don't see it. And like you said, defensively. But what's weird, I feel like it's like in the beginning of the season, like our rebounding was pretty decent. Defense was pretty good. Like we had solid defenders.
Defense
right?
was nasty at the beginning of the season too. Because I
Was
wrote
it
a
always
whole
this bad?
it's been at the beginning of the season we were like 20th in the league. And I analyzed, I'm like, if you look at Frank Vogel's teams that where they like it was through the first, I want to say 10 games. I'm like the first 10 games of his first season with the team versus where they ended up, they generally didn't move much that entire year. So through the first 10 games, the Suns were like 18th, 19th in there. And right now we're at like 16th, 17th, 18th. And here we are, double that time. And that's in his first year at Indiana, his first year at Orlando with the Lakers, who they are in the first 10 games. And what was interesting about that with Indiana, they were a top tier defense because that's what he inherited from the season before. Right. He took over as the interim head coach halfway through a season when his mentor, who he had followed from a couple different places as an assistant coach, was canned in Indiana. The next year, they kept a lot of the same assets. There wasn't a lot of turnover, and they were a top tier defense. In Orlando, they were a bad defense when he took over, and they maintained their bad defensive identity throughout his entire tenure with Orlando. And with the Lakers, they were an above average defense in his first 10 games, and that's where they ended. And then, ultimately winning the championship the next season. So, kind of what you see is what you get right now with the Suns when it comes to defense. And I'm not sure how they fix that. I truly don't, and you look at how the bench plays tonight. Chimezie Metu only plays 10 minutes. He scores 3 points, 0-2 from beyond the arc. Drew Eubanks, 15 minutes, 8 points. He was probably the bright spot coming off the bench. Yuta Watanabe, 8 minutes, 0 points. Keita Bates-Diop, 14 minutes, 4 points. Nasir Little, 26 minutes, 5 points. Jordan Goodwin, 23 minutes, 3 points. Bol, 2 minutes, 2 points in that, in garbage time. The bench, and this is, and again, this is where I said it a little bit earlier in the podcast, but I feel like the haters are right. All the people that were like, no, man, like we got depth. We didn't have depth tonight, man. No. We can play defense, dude. We got Vogel, man. We got Vogel. They didn't play defense tonight, man. No. It's going to be okay. All these guys are going to stay healthy. They'll be healthy enough to where Bradley Beal goes down tonight, man. It's just like everything. Maybe it was a long week at work or something, but I came into this one not with a great feeling, and then everything just kind of happened, just fortifies the opposite side of the narrative that I'm always trying to push away and fight and say, no, listen, like, just give it more time. It's going to be okay. We're 20-something games, like, I need somebody to give me some psychological positives. I need somebody to tell me, like, hey, John, it's going to be okay, and tousle my hair and be like, it's okay, little buddy. Everything's going to be okay. We're going to win games. I promise. And with the Wizards and the Blazers coming up, we should. But I don't even have confidence in Landry Shamet's going to come in on Sunday and have a revenge game and score 40 fucking points against the Suns.
Yeah, it's going to happen. He's definitely going to dunk on somebody. Like, that's what he does. Maybe twice. But I really do think so. The only way really to fix this, it starts with Booker, of course, up front. Him and Goodwin. If Goodwin does fall into the starting lineup, I think that might be an interesting little spice to the starting lineup. But also, putting that pressure on Booker and Kevin Durant to step it up defensively kind of scares me a little bit just because of the injury history. So they're playing a little bit more physical. I don't know how comfortable you are with that. I know that Booker definitely wants to continue to improve on his defense, and KD wants to do the best he can and still be reliable. But that just kind of scares me too, you know. And I don't know how you fix it either. There's never I think last year when we tried to fix our issues, we kind of had some idea like a backup point guard or something. You know what I mean? Whoever we needed. But then of course you had the Chris Paul injury and all that stuff in the playoffs. But there's no answer out there right now. And what sucks right now in this point of time with the Suns franchise is we're trying to win every year. So every addition to this team, every subtraction ends up being kind of like just a huge mistake, right? If it doesn't work out, if it's the end of the year, we lose again in 4 or 5 games in the playoffs, it's like, oh shit, like you guys fucked it up. Look at what everybody else is doing. Look at all the other players and what they're doing on their teams, right? So we have to start comparing to that. That's what sucks. That's like the frustration we kind of have right now is because we have to win with what we have. And now with one guy gone, and he probably won't play the rest of the season, you just don't know who else to rely on. And Booker just has to take it to another level. And I don't know if he can.
And that's why this is kind of worst case scenario type shit, because of the way that this roster is constructed, the only mid-tier contracts that you have are Nasir Little and Grayson Allen. And, you know, is it worth giving up? Grayson Allen was one of the best players on the court tonight, it felt like at times. You know, I mean, he was out there, he was hitting shots. He ends up playing 36 minutes, scoring 13 points. He didn't miss a shot out there. And you don't want to give up on him. Nasir Little, like perhaps he's had enough of a runway thus far this season to where you can, but what are you getting in return, you know, for $6 million a year? Like are you getting a needle mover, or is it going after like another big or somebody who can play defense? I mean, it's just
wait, really quick. Do you do the Siakam thing? Or do you focus on another big, like, I don't know, because Siakam's the only other really big out there, right? That's
but how the fuck do you get Siakam?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is like, how do you pull this off?
You can't.
I know you don't. But you were asking like who's a needle mate or mover or whatever. So guys like that, but like you can't do that. I'm not saying that you should or you could. It's just like I don't know how you even get a guy like that.
Well, Lazy Squatch in the chat says, okay, John, how about if we consider trading either Durant or Booker? Think about it. We can get a lot. I agree that you can get a lot, but the answer is no to that. No matter what, as frustrated as we are tonight, you still stick and stay the course and hope that at some point it corrects itself. I don't know if it'll correct itself defensively. I don't see that happening. Can this be a team that tries to blow teams out of the arena with their ability to score points eventually? Perhaps. It's not going to happen, especially come playoff time. But, I mean, that's just the way that it goes. I was hanging out on this fucking subreddit of the New York fucking Knicks or whatever tonight.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
I'm not dressing up. That's the only drop I'm doing tonight. Oh shit, I forgot about Bill being on the Suns completely. Please don't drop a 30 burger, Bradley. Right after that, geez, Bill is a street clothes type of dude. I mean, he came out, he looked great, and then he's like, and he's gone. Eubanks got the Chris Dudley build. Chris Dudley build. Guys, I just hit a dab and had a vision, or a dab. I just hit a dab and had a vision of Steph Curry win a championship with the Knicks. That's what they're talking about over there. They really hate fucking Julius Randle over there, by the way. KD out there looking like Andrew Wiggins. Suns really need their big three healthy and on fire to win shootouts in April, May, because their non-existent defense is going to get them bounced in round one. Whoo! That was a nice observation. And then somebody said, KD wishes he came to the Knicks.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
I feel bad. I just get so unmotivated for these podcasts right now. I'm in.
Yeah, it's
like last Friday. Last Friday was like a 20-minute pod because I was just like, fuck Billy Joel. And this week I'm like, fuck the Suns.
Yeah. So I think really just to fix like just our sanity a little bit would just be if this Suns team, I know Beal's out, but if they can just maintain, somewhat of a, semblance of a roster for a little bit, to see how they can put some games together. Like that would help us a lot. And I'm not saying this team, like I already said, I don't know if they can beat any team out west right now with what they have. but they just have to stay the course and then continue
That's
to
all they
build.
can
And
do, though.
that I know, and that's the frustrating part. It's just like pieces keep falling off left and right. Like every time we see some kind of light, like even like I said, last game we lost, but we didn't fucking care because we knew by the time this team was together, we'll be fine. But I don't know, man. I wish that they can just focus on defense, obviously, but Booker has to like step it up, dude, and KD has to because otherwise there's no hope for them in the playoffs at all.
I guess if you want to look at bright sides, the Suns are 3 losses behind, I guess you should say, the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets have 9 losses. The Suns have 12. And the Nuggets are the 2 seed. And we're the 10 seed. So I guess there's that going for us. Like we're not completely out of it. We're 3.5 games behind them. We're 3 games behind the Oklahoma City Thunder, which are the 3 seeds. So we're not in that lower tier of like the Spurs, who finally won again tonight, by the way. The last time the Spurs won was against the Suns.
Yeah.
They beat the Lakers tonight. The Grizzlies, who are 6-18, the Portland Trailblazers, who are 6-17, the Utah Jazz, who are 9-16. Like we're still above 500, but we're just barely floating. And everything's, Josh Okogie's out with a hip injury, and we don't know the severity of that. Obviously, Bradley Beal, like I'm guessing we won't see him until February. Like I honestly believe that. It's going to be a month and a half. He'll probably have like a sprain. I mean, that ankle went fucking sideways, dude. Like the way he landed on all weight going forward into a shot, then right onto his ankle. I stubbed my toe the other day and I was day to day for 3 days. I mean, I just don't understand how he's going to be able to come back anytime soon. And the Suns, in typical fashion, they're going to, with Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, or Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, they're going to tell Bradley Beal the same thing they told him before. Like, we're going to hold down the fort, dude. Just focus on getting healthy, getting the right frame of mind. We're going to need you. We're going to need you. We're going to need you. But I mean, again, we're just running in the hamster wheel, and welcome to a regular season as a Phoenix Suns fan. We run in this hamster wheel, hoping that we can somehow, some way get out of it, get out of these jinxes, get out of these situations in which the team is just behind the 8 ball at all times, whether it's in a game. This game, they were leading going into the fourth quarter. They were leading this game. It was a back and forth battle. They scored 23 points in the fourth quarter, and they give up fucking 42. If you want to go into some statistical analysis of what that fourth quarter looked like for the Knicks, it's kind of a story that, again, we've talked about in this hamster wheel. The Suns shoot 36.4% in the fourth. They go 8 of 22. They go 0 of 5. Meanwhile, the Knicks shoot for 65%, and they go 7 of 10 from beyond the arc. I mean, it's just this team hits the fourth quarter, and they just I've never seen a team fall apart consistently in the fourth quarter like I've seen this Suns team this season. And if it wasn't for 3 wins over the fucking Golden State Warriors, 3 of our 13 wins are against the Golden State Warriors, man. I mean, what the fuck? Over?
Yeah, I know. And that team's kind of just done for the season. If the Suns can really just, the only way I feel like to really bounce back is, I don't even know. But I was gonna say too, like the fourth quarter thing, even when we were winning games, dude, like just giving up those leads and eking out the win against the Warriors, like we could have lost that. Steph Curry had a chance to tie it at the end, so everything's been really close this year. I'm interested to hear like what Vogels says, of course, post game, like after, just because right now, like this is not Frankie Valley time at all. This is like, I don't think he's like on the hot seat, but like he has to do something drastic to win back his fan base, because we already got guys or people in the chat saying that he should be fired and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
it's not that bad, but honestly, the way that he can turn this team around, maybe pick it up defensively or something like that, I don't know how he does that. I don't know.
Well, what Frank Vogel said in the post game was essentially, he said it himself that this team needs to decide whether or not they're a defensive team. He came out, he said that the X-rays were negative, and then he said, we need to decide whether or not we want to be a good defensive team. What we're doing is not good enough. And it's like, no shit, Frankie. No shit. You're not doing anything. Even Kevin Durant, he had his post-game press conference was great, because he was just, observation after observation. He said Quentin Grimes he can't get 6 threes up. He doesn't dribble at all. He doesn't have any free throws on the season. He doesn't have any assists. It feels like when he's getting threes up, that stuff he can't have. It's frustrating. And then when he was talking about Beal, he says, bad luck. You believe in that? I don't even look at life. Shit happens. It's just part of it. Brad, we got a great training staff. He got support. And so that's what Durant's saying. But again, what happens consistently on the court, and welcome to the fan base, KD. This is what happens to us. Devin Booker on the Suns' mentality to move past the latest injury said, keep leading, keep playing, keep competing. We have a job to do, and we're going to do that. We all have a lot of experience, been around and understand things like this happen. It's just how you respond. And how they respond tonight was embarrassing before the fucking before Shawn Marion's retirement. And like Creepy Crawley says in the chat, 139 points at fucking home. It's disgraceful. It's disgraceful. It's a horrible. This is the worst loss of the season, my friend. Easily the worst loss of the season. This one kicked me right in the balls. Right in the balls. This one kicked me, man. I'm going to be limping all weekend.
Jeez, dude. Yeah, I don't know. Next game they might win. Who knows?
Yeah, they're playing the Wizards. They should win.
Yeah.
The Wizards are a dog shit team. But like you said, the Suns are a team that, again, the way that they play, it's with this lackadaisicalness. Like, well, we know we got talent, so we're just lazily pass it over here, turnover. And I mean, they were up 10 points with like late in the third in this game. Like, we're fucking cruising, dude. We knockout punch, and then they take their foot off the pedal. And that's what I'm afraid about with the Wizards, that Devin Booker's going to have to play 38 minutes and KD's going to have to play 39 to beat the fucking Wizards. Like, that's what sucks about this team right now. And then we play the same thing will happen against the Blazers, when we play them. When we go out on the road, we head up to the Moda Center, and they're just like, we have to play 40 minutes out of our two top guys and just tax the shit out of them because nobody has a killer instinct on that second-team unit. Yuta Watanabe can't hit a shot to save his fucking life. Okay, Nasir Little's hot and cold. At least he tries and gives a shit. Drew Eubanks finally had a decent game tonight. Chimezie Metu has the talent, and we're all rooting so hard for Metu to be a quality player, but we've yet to see him put together just like a killer game, right? That we need coming off the bench. Like, come in and scored 15 points off the bench or 10 points off the bench and grabbed 8 boards. We think that he's got the physical skill set and he can throw down some highlight dunks, but he's not there yet. Going down the roster, Keita Bates-Diop has been a fucking zero. I feel like he never finishes his shot. He gets blocked all the time. He's always in the wrong position on rebounding. It's one of the reasons why our second team rebounding is one of the worst in the entire league, is because none of our guys know how to rebound coming off the bench. And Goodwin has been the bright spot, but even if Devin Booker's not in the game with him, he looks very, very different. He plays off Booker very well, but when Booker's not out there and he has to be a facilitator, he doesn't have the capacity to do so. And that's just kind of the state of the Suns right now. And the key is to identify what those challenges are, work on it and fix it, but have the ability to put it out there. Because I'm telling you the script, man. Fucking the Wizards game on Sunday, right? 6:00 tip. The Suns are going to go out there. They're going to play. They're going to have a cold shooting like middle of the first quarter. It'll be like a 3-point game after the first quarter, like 25-22 or some dumb shit. They'll go up big. They'll be up by like 10 points at halftime. They'll go up by like 17 points in the third, and then they're going to win by like 5. That's how it goes. That's Phoenix Suns basketball. Book it.
All right, we done with the pod or what? Is that it?
Yeah, let's
what are we doing?
Jam Star or something. You know where we are?
You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of bricks and of boards, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of stagnation. That's a signpost up ahead. Your next stop, the Shamit Zone.
Whole goddamn team's in the Shamit Zone.
Jam Star of the Game.
I'm going to give the jam start of the game to KD for like 3 minutes in the second quarter. He had like 3 threes. There you go. There you go. Shawn Marion.
He's bigger in person too. Like he just seems like he's like, what is he, 6'7"? He seems taller than that.
Yeah, he's 6'7".
Maybe he has some platform shoes.
He's trying to get up on people. Yeah, what was it like being in the arena today? Obviously the Shawn Marion experience is going on. Tell me everything, the sights, the sounds, what you saw, what you didn't like, what you did like.
Well, it was definitely very cool. So like before the game, they had a press conference, and he was up there with his son, and it was kind of cute. You know, his son kind of said that he sucked.
What?
So yeah. So they were asking about like Shawn Marion, like if you played in today's NBA, like how many steals would you have? He said like I would average like 5, right? And he asked his son how much he would average, and he said like 2 because you're old. And he's like, well, he's like, I'm not talking about me at this age, but when I was younger. And he's like, yeah, still 2. You sucked, or you suck, or whatever. It was like, okay. It looked like Mary wanted to beat his, beat his ass. He's like, this is my night, dude. But yeah, after that it was really cool. I think that the whole I was gonna ask you too, doing it post game. I like it. I think it's a good idea because I think what Matt HBO wants to do is just to have that extended time because at halftime you only have what the 8 to 10 minutes to do anything. So I think he wanted extended, and I liked it after the game. And I think the Suns fans should have stayed. I know it's when if they lost this bad, it's like fuck the Suns. I paid for these tickets. Like fuck them. Like putting this trash out there. It's like it's not about that, dude. Everyone should have stayed for the game or for after the game because it was a very emotional speech from Shawn Marion. It's been a long time, and because of Matt Ishbia, we have this kind of team, and because of him, we have the Ring of Honor. And I think it's pitiful that they left. Like I think it's fucking bullshit.
Well, Suns fans, man, Phoenix Suns fans. I mean, it's just we get what we deserve, I guess, as a fan base. You know, fair weather fans, all that stuff. Us diehards are out here living and dying every goddamn day. Those bastards. 3-2 is the next big one. You know, that's when we retire Jamar Stoudemire. You know, March 2nd. So book your calendars, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, as we mentioned, we're playing the Wizards. Do we win or we lose?
I think we win.
I hope we win. I'm just tired of
Shaman will score 40 in the dunk or over Nurkic
Booker.
a couple times.
Booker.
Over Booker.
Yeah, he's gonna do it to Booker. Like, get ready for that Shamit posterization
We're
of
going to
Booker.
put in the gorilla, dude. They can get the gorilla out there, man.
I'm sorry, Jamsters. I'm sorry if you're watching or listening and I seem a little bit down. It was just a frustrating loss, man, going into this and just being so excited to watch this game and to see Shawn Marion. And here's the other side of this. You know, Shawn Marion for me is one of my all-time favorite Suns. You know, you mentioned this. You were doing the Instagram live beforehand, and if you're watching this on Instagram, awesome. If not, tune in. You know, follow us on Instagram at Suns Jam. We're at the arena a lot. You know, taking a lot of photos and live videos before the game starts. It's really a fun experience for anybody who does follow us there. But one of the things you were saying there was, you know, during 7 seconds or less, Nash was your guy, and then Stoudemire, and then Marion. And that's how the majority of fans, that's where their allegiances lie when it comes to the 7 seconds or less era. And for me, it was always Marion. I loved Shawn Marion. I loved, you know, I talk about it on this podcast, fuck shit up guys. Man, was he a fuck shit up guy. He just did all those little things right. That's that pogo stick second jump, that awkward looking shot, those highlight dunks. I mean, he was just so much fun to watch on the court. He did everything so well, and it was so fun to watch. So this night, I mean, I teared up in my living room watching the highlights and the whole ceremony, because it brings you back to how those emotions that you haven't thought about in a long time, and some of those frustrations that went along with some of those 7 seconds or less teams, but everything that he brought to this city and to this team and to this organization, to this franchise, and to know that Matt Ishbia is doing it right and putting his name up there. It's where it should be. He was an amazing part of this organization, and for so many people who are Suns fans, that specific stretch and era of the Suns is invaluable to the history of this organization. So I love Shawn Marion, and I was so excited to see him go in, and just, you know, it's an emotional roller coaster. Like, you're excited for this game, and then you're instantly disappointed because Bradley Beal's hurt, and you're feeling for him and hoping he's okay. And then the Suns, you know, you're like, hey, they'll battle through this. They're not going to let Shawn Marion and Bradley Beal down the same night. And then they just shit on your heart. They pull down their pants and just all over your heart. And you're like, oh yeah, I forgot I can't have nice things. And that's just, so again, if I'm a Debbie, I apologize. Hopefully I'll be a lot more quicker on Wizards.
The best part was with Shawn Marion talking about Sarver and how I didn't pay Joe Johnson too, because he really thought that year, the 2006 year, was the year that they should have won the championship.
Mhm.
Everyone thought it was 2007, but he said with Joe Johnson getting hurt, that was huge, and him not getting paid was really fucked up, basically, from Sarver. So it's nice to have him back as someone just drilling
What is that?
away. I don't know.
Yeah.
They must be getting ready for something tomorrow. I don't know.
Is there a concert or some shit? Avoid downtown Phoenix.
Final Four, who knows?
Who
But
knows?
yeah,
all right,
who knows?
Jamsters.
probably
Well, we
gotta get
appreciate we appreciate you hanging out. If you're watching, please hit that thumbs up button. It helps with the algorithms. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, we truly appreciate it. Make sure that you leave us a review. Like Nate Dogg, $17. He says best the goats is he gave us 5 stars and then wrote this on Apple
Nice.
Podcasts. He says those guys are awesome. Great breakdowns of every Suns game with some humor that makes it even better. Definitely check these guys out. You will love them. Thank you for always being consistent. You guys rock. Sorry, I'm such a downer tonight. And then you have Dells gives us a 5-star review and says favorite Suns podcast, great thoughtful analysis, and also so very entertaining. I love the structure of the show with all the different player segments, which I didn't play any of tonight. I look forward to this podcast after every game. Thank you both for the great effort in making this a great Suns listen. Go Suns. So thank you to everybody who's watching along live. It sounds like there's some construction going on at the Footprint Center. So Matthew, tell people what they need to do.
Go home, love your family.
Go home and love your Marions.